for the first matchup, we're going to the AFC for this one on NBC at 4:30 on Saturday. We've got the number 5 Raiders going to Cincinnati for a rematch of that 32-13 game in Vegas. Bengals crushed them last time out. What do you guys think will happen this time?
This is a very interesting game. Obviously, the Raiders coming off the game of the season, a game that we all stayed up very late to watch, just clinch it out. Again, I mean, that's a whole nother topic to get into that game. But this, I think, is going to be a fantastic matchup. I think this could arguably be one of the best games. I think this will be one of the closest games because neither of these teams, I would say, yeah, the Bengals higher seeded probably have the bit of the edge, but this Raiders team looks fantastic. Derek Carr looks really good. I think this offense is very good. And the defense, I think that's been their big step. And that's why they've been able to make the jump from being a fringe playoff team in past years to now finally making the playoffs. It's a tough game for me. I'll go for my prediction. I want to hear your guys' prediction, but I think really it's going to come down to, because this is probably going to be, I think this will be a high scoring game. I would definitely predict this game to go 30 plus on each end of the ball, like that kind of Chargers game. We know this Bengals offense can come down to it. My real thing is, and I know this is contradicting so much because me, Charlie, and Dylan got in an argument on the podcast. I said the Bengals could make the Super Bowl. I just really think I'm going to pick the Bengals. Okay. I think the Bengals will win. I genuinely think this is a 50-50 game. I honestly don't think there's a favorite in this game. I think this will be close. I think Derek Carr, and I was going to talk about experience, but I mean, Carr doesn't have very much of that either. So I think none of it, obviously. So I think it's generally going to come down to offensive firepower. And because I think the Raiders edge out the Bengals a little bit on defense. But I think besides that, this Bengals team, we know how fantastic they are. But Serge, what do you think?
I think it's gonna be a great game. First of all, before I say my predictions, I think one of the interesting thing that happens, I think one of the edges that the Bengals will have against the Raiders is their run game, because the Raiders have, in my opinion, a below average run defense. They're 19th in the league in terms of yards allowed per game, and worse, they lost, I think, their best run defender, Darius Philon, who was having an amazing game before he did have a significant injury to his knee. So that's really gonna hurt the Raiders. But the thing that I think the Raiders actually can capitalize on as the Bengals is that they do not have a very good offensive line. Joe Burrow, the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this season. The Raiders have 2 amazing edge rushers in Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby, who I think could get to Joe Burrow easily 3, 4, or even 5 times. And it's a tough game. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting game, but I'm going to go with the Bengals because of the fact that I think they have way too much firepower on offense, and I think they'll be able to run the ball relatively well against this Raiders defense. And I trust Joe Burrow a bit more than Derek Carr.
That's I have not. That's crazy to me that I did not know that Joe Burrow is the most sacked quarterback. I thought this offensive line was decent.
No,
I guess I'm completely wrong.
It's also, to be fair, a poor.
Yeah. I think it's gotten better than last year.
But to be fair, Joe Burrow also does hold on to the ball for a very long time, which is also a reason why. Mm-hmm. But I think it's also, again, offensive line is still not very good, and the Raiders do have some great pass rushers, which I think could really help them. Again, like you said, keep this game very, very close.
Mm-hmm. But Serge, you have Bengals.
I have Bengals.
All right, Dylan.
This is a very, very interesting game. These are 2 teams that are built, honestly, almost identically on both sides of the ball, other than the clear discrepancies between receivers. But what I mean by that is we see Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs are very similar builds of a running back. Derek Carr is honestly a little bit more of a mature version of Joe Burrow with a little bit of a flaw in his game, which is chronic turnover issues that I feel like he's kind of ironed out of his game this season. But what I'm trying to say by this, I'm getting a little off topic, is that this is going to be the classic game that the Raiders and the Bengals play, and that's late game football. And the question is going to be, who is more clutch? And it is so hard for me to pick against the Raiders after that game, and I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm going to be picking the Las Vegas Raiders to shock the world and beat the Cincinnati Bengals on Saturday afternoon against in Cincinnati.
But do you really think in your heart that if the Raiders won, this would be a shock to the world?
Yes.
I don't think this would be a shock to the world at all. I think the Raiders. If I were to go on a betting app and see the Raiders as favorites, I wouldn't be surprised.
If the Raiders win, there's only one way the Raiders win. Daniel Carlson game-winning field goal.
I would be surprised, but to say that it will shock the world is definitely an overreaction. I don't think this will shock the world.
The Bengals could make a lot of people think the Bengals could make a serious run in the AFC.
I think they can. I'm one of those people.
And the Raiders, I think
this is going to be a very tough matchup for the Bengals.
I think what this comes down to, and what it comes down to, is going to be a game-winning drive. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I generally
team, and let me finish. The Cincinnati Bengals will not be able to stop a Las Vegas Raiders game-winning drive. I think Las Vegas's defense might be able to edge it out.
I actually
Yeah,
disagree.
I think that's a good point.
I think the Bengals defense could actually stop Las Vegas's offense in crunch time, because I think one of the fatal flaws of this Las Vegas offense is their offensive line themselves are not very good. And when you have solid edge rushers like Trey Hendrickson, who's been a beast this season, I feel like he could have a big game against
Derek Carr isn't the type. Derek Carr, with the scheme and the system he's playing, it isn't the type of guy that's going to hold on to the ball when he sees Trey Hendrickson running at him. He's going to be able to. He's going to find his check down, which is Hunter Renfrow or Zay Jones or Bryan Edwards. He's going to get the first down. He's not going to try to force a ball downfield and throw an interception like Joe Burrow might. Just my opinion.
Dylan, but I agree. But I mean, as of recent trends, that goes against everything you're saying about them being able to have a game-winning drive. They were not able to do that against Los Angeles, who arguably have a worse defense than the Bengals.
They won the game.
Yeah, they hit a field goal. They should have scored a touchdown.
Game-winning drives.
They still won.
It is. There's a big difference between what Herbert did and what Carr did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a big difference between what Herbert did and what Carr did, and that's not because Herbert was able to put up more points. It's because Herbert was able to do it on 35 throwing attempts, which is impressive.
Yeah, but I think you look at the going up against a good Bengals defense, or excuse me, not a good Bengals. I don't know. I said that.
It's a solid.
No, it's a solid. No, I'm the type of person I throw in good sometimes. I don't know why I did that. I think going up against a Bengals defense that's kind of mid pack. You look at what Derek Carr was able to do yesterday, and obviously Derek Carr had a fantastic game, but that missed throw to Waller in the end zone, which he could have easily ended the game there. And again, I agree that yesterday isn't a great kind of comparison because of how weird that outcome could have been, because they could have tied it. So it's like, really, it's a win matter. I understand that, but I don't think Derek Carr and, I think, yeah, I agree, Don. I think I would edge out. I think it's very close. I think the Raiders could get a game-winning drive. I think the Bengals could just as easy as well, though. But I see your point.
Point I'm trying to make, as weird as this sounds, as many arrests as this team has had, the maturity will get them through into the season. Go on.
No. Okay. So we've heard it. I could really also see this game going both ways.
Yeah.
I'm actually. It's a really tough one to pick because I think the Bengals looked a lot better all season, but the Raiders showed us really what they can do when it comes down to it last night. And I'm going to side with Dylan on this one. I'm actually going to pick the Raiders. I think so what I'm looking at, what I think could be a big decider, the Bengals have one of the worst passing defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
They've allowed the 6th most passing yards in the NFL, which is really bad, especially since we've seen Derek Carr's got the 5th most passing yards in the NFL. They've got a lot of receivers to cover, a lot of capable receivers. No superstars like Jamar Chase or T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd, but good receivers who are capable of making big catches on big plays. And history will repeat itself. Last time the Bengals started their 31-year playoff losing streak against the Raiders in 1991, and I think it'll happen again. I'm not saying it'll be 31 years before they win a playoff game, but I think they will lose again.
Was it the Los Angeles Raiders or was it the Oakland Raiders? Because it would be funny if there's been 3 Raiders teams since they've won.
I could not tell you.
I think it was Los Angeles.
Los Angeles Raiders won the last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would be funny. So regardless, I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one.